Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Noodles Fun and Board Games. I actually did this episode and then I looked at it and I thought, I say nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the sort of new games that we played last week and the games that we intend to play this week that I haven't played yet and that we're very excited about. We got some new games in. And I want to focus a little bit on Gloom and especially on Fairytale Gloom. And of course I left the boxes for that downstairs, so I might have to cut out and like use those a bit, like show you those a little bit later. I did a little bit of a run through for Fairytale Gloom and I might add that in towards the end. But anyway, let's get started. So we played a lot of games this week, a lot of ones that we had already played, like Tolkien, which is one of my husband's favourites. I didn't get all the games up here that we played because that's a lot, and I couldn't be bothered carrying them up the stairs. But Tolkien is a worker placement game on a Mayan calendar, which is really awesome because it all moves around and stuff. I'll have to show you guys sometimes. We did play some new games, and some of them were surprisingly fun. We went to a game shop last week, and both Elora and I picked out a game. And she picked out, hold on, let me get that. She picked out this one, which is Mondo, and we played it. It's I think it's a kind of game that is a lot of fun if you play with people that usually don't play games. It plays fast, which is nice. What you do, you have a big stack of little piles, and you all have to create your own little island. Let me see if I can find the little, yeah. So you have something like this in front of you. I set back on purpose this time so that people can actually see what I'm showing. And you basically stack the tiles in this thing. I can't deal with looking at myself on the camera and doing this. And you get extra points for animals and for all the pieces of land that are properly created. And actually we did this one with just the sea around it and stuff like that. It's cute. It's fun to play with kids. I can imagine that it's fun if you're like, I don't know, on holiday with a group of people and you just want to pull out a quick game. It's not the kind of game that you can wake me up for in the middle of the night. It's actually not a lot of games are, but this is the kind of game that I'm okay with playing once in a while. But this could get old for me quite quick, but it is a good game to play with kids, and what I like most about it is that it's very, very fast. My game was slightly more epic, the one that I picked, and I went for XCOM. And some of you who like to do computer gaming, you will probably know of this, and I've heard it's really good. I don't do computer gaming, with the exception of board games on the computer. And I like point-and-click games like Monkey Island and you know, especially the old, I think like 80s or 90s games. Those are the ones I do enjoy. I just don't take the time to computer game. I have nothing against it. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. But this is really good. My only one complaint is that if you are a bit of a control freak like I am, the first game, the introduction game, it's a tutorial kind of thing, can be a bit frustrating. I ended up being the commander and the chief scientist because we played with two people. There's four sort of roles in this, so you can play with four people. You can also play with on your own, and then you're all roles. I don't think I could do that. Personally, I think I would go nuts. We played a tutorial, which meant that not all of it was timed. Later on, as we progressed, the things suddenly started putting on the timer, which stressed me out quite a bit, but in a good way. I mean, it's good. It's fun stress. It's not, you know, I want to play it again, so it's not bad. But it doesn't explain exactly what you're doing. You kind of find out by doing it. And if you're the commander, you need to like focus on the budget. I had no idea what I was doing. Luckily, it sort of hit me by round 2 what I was doing, but because I didn't know exactly when it was going to end, it freaked me out to know like how much budget can I splurge now? Can I like use it all? Can I use just a little bit? I had moments where I was like Julia Roberts going, I have money! Ah, let me spend it. I don't know. It went a bit funky for me at times, but now that I kind of know what to expect, I think I'm going to enjoy the next game even more. And I did actually enjoy the first one. Dan enjoyed it so much he gave it a 9 out of 10, which, you know, I think is quite high. I haven't given any games a 9 out of 10 yet. But for me, this scores a very solid 8, maybe even an 8.5. Um, it's um, it's just really good. The timer, we do like real-time games a lot, but this is also, they have an app. You don't just play, the app actually guides you through the story, and that's pretty neat. The music and everything makes it really tense and really scary, and it's good. I really enjoyed this game, and I can't wait to play it again. Okay, another one that we played, which was new, was this one, Pathfinder. I have to admit, I liked it. I hope I'm not like shuffling all the cards through each other because it's hell to like sort out. This and Legendary are just, they take longer to sort out and to set up than they do to play. No, it's not true, but it feels like it. I liked it. I wasn't blown away. It probably didn't help that we played Pathfinder, the role-playing game, the night before, which we really enjoy. And this is a lot more limited because you're playing a card game. It also lacks a bit of the stress that you feel with certain card games. Things like Shadowrun Crossfire, that's one of those you sit on the edge of your seat kind of games because you never know if you're going to survive this or not because it's a really difficult game. This reminded me a bit of Legendary, the superhero version. And don't mistake that with the Alien Encounter, because the Alien Encounter is scary as hell. Every time a face hugger goes out, I'm like, kill it with fire! It's that kind of excitement. Legendary, the superhero one, is a nice game. I love the deck builder element. I love the characters. I mean, it has Emma Frost in it, one of my all-time favorite characters. But it lacks that certain je ne sais quoi, and this has that as well. It's fun. I like the character I'm playing. I'm playing a sorcerer. The locations are nice. The enemies are nice, but I not once had that feeling. And even though we only barely won the game, I never once had that feeling of, oh my god. And we quite like that in our games. Okay, last game I wanted to mention that we played this week is actually a surprising game. I bought it to play with Elora. We play with Elora quite a lot. This was our most played game this week. It's called Sushi Go, and it looks like really lame because, to be honest, I expected it to be really lame. I don't think I paid a lot for it, and I just thought we need more games to play with Elora that are quick. This is actually so much fun, and it's actually more clever than it seems. You get 9 cards in your hand. You pick one, and then you pass your hand to the next person. So you all pick one from a deck, and then you pick one from the next one and you hand it over, and that's how it is. At the end, basically, it's just counting points. But what's nice about it is that you have to plan, because certain combinations are so much points, and you know, when you get your first hand, you don't know what the others have in their hand yet, so it's very difficult to plan what strategy are you going to do. Are you going to go for the tempura, or are you going to go for the sashimi, or, you know, because you need a certain amount of cards of one to get the points, if else you get nothing. It's a lot of fun. If you have kids, honestly, I recommend this one, and it's really good for them to sort of develop little strategy thinking and things as well. Sushi Go, seriously get it. Okay, What I want to do before I show you my Gloom run through is show you the games that we want to go play this week. I have received a few new ones. One I actually bought on eBay, and I will mention that actually last because that's the one I'm looking forward to most. Okay, so what are we gonna probably be playing tonight? Well, first of all, there's this game, Lost Will. If anyone has seen the movie Brewster's Millions, this is the game, only with, you know, this shady looking white guy. But it's about a millionaire who died, who is leaving his inheritance to his cousins, who apparently all look like this guy. Not his cousins, his nephews. He's the uncle. And he is leaving his money to the one who spends the most. I have to admit, I bought this game pure because of this theme. I thought it was hilarious, and I thought it would be fun to lose money and, you know, do something different for a change, and just the whole sort of getting immersed in the silliness. That's why I got this game. The game itself looks a little bit more cutthroat than I would usually enjoy, but I think because it's so silly, we could probably deal with it and still have a great big laugh. So that's Lost Will. It apparently has an expansion, but I first want to try out this game. Then I actually got a German game. I tend to only get English games if I can, and I only get the Dutch ones if they're so much cheaper that, you know, it'd be silly to buy them. Sometimes it can seriously be a difference of 20 euros. Then I'd rather get the Dutch game. But I actually prefer everything in English because that's how we play, and then if we have English friends over, it's going to be easier than that. I actually gave away my Pandemic Dutch version to friends of mine because we ended up buying the English one, and also the expansions were in English, and I'm a little bit OCD about not having my languages mixed if I can help it. But okay, I got this one, Helvetia. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm sorry for the people. Apparently it's a real place. Why I got this, even though it's not co-op, it's a worker placement game that lets you marry your workers with the workers of someone else, and it gives everyone a benefit. I like that kind of stuff. I like when, even if it's not working together, you're kind of still working together. And this is the kind of game where you're not necessarily that much in each other's way, or at least it doesn't look like it. I mean, you can block each other, but you do it like not on purpose, and if you do, there's always other things for people to do. It's the same with Tolkien, it's the same with or Tolkien, I keep yeah, sorry, and it's the same with Marco Polo or Dungeon Pets. You know, you can sometimes like have that it's annoying that the other person's in the spot where you want to be, but there's so many other choices. You get to do your thing anyway. Okay, and then the last one, it came in just now, like seriously about less than an hour ago, I think. I am so looking forward to this, again, because of the theme. It's called Epic Resort. Look, the plastic is still on it and everything. So I still have to unbox it. Why this one? Because you have a resort where the heroes go on holiday. Seriously, they had me at that. I wanted this game after I read that, but the gameplay looks fun as well. It's a deck evolution worker placement game. So Dan especially is very all about the worker placement. He's really good at it. I absolutely suck, because my problem with worker placement is that I have this thing in mind that I want to do, and that doesn't necessarily get me points. So I'm so focused on doing the fun things that I forget to score the points, and I'm just tragic. But I enjoy myself anyway, so we already know that Dan's probably gonna win this one. Unless they have stuff that I like to do that scores points, like Marco Polo I'm quite good at, because I like to travel around and, you know, buy and collect stuff, and that is what scores you points. So, yeah. But, the fact that you are the hosts of this resort, and the heroes can help you out because you keep getting attacked by monsters and pirates and whatnot. There's a good Rado run through for this. Um, but but you have to, you know, pamper all your tourists and your heroes, and I don't know, I just found that so hilarious and so unique. I thought I have to own this and I have to try it. And the next one I will tell you what it was like, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be played this week or probably even tonight because I'm so excited about it. Okay, that was the games that we played and the games that I wanted to play. I am going to show you my little run through for Gloom. What makes Gloom so special? Well, to be honest, first of all, the look and the feel of the game. The theme is amazing. If you like your games a little bit morbid, this is the game for you. It is all about making your family as miserable as possible. That's simple. It's a very familiar type of card game where you can, you know, do the pluses and the minuses. Only in this case, the minuses are good and the pluses are bad, and other people can give you like pluses. But what makes this so brilliant is that you have to tell a story while you're playing the game. So rather than just go, okay, well, here's a minus card and here's a plus card, you have to tell the tale around it. This is why I love this game, because the actual gameplay is not my thing. I do not like screwing people over, which you have to do in this game. And quite a lot. There's a lot of cards that kind of hurt the other person, but because they hurt them in a weirdly positive way, it feels less bad. Making other characters happy feels less bad than making them sad. So it doesn't feel like you're being extremely mean to the other person, even though you kind of are point-wise. I love the originality of how you play the actual cards. I'll show you that in a run-through. They're see-through, they stack up. That makes the game feel different than other games. I really enjoy playing this game, even though it's not my standard kind of game. Dan likes it less than I do, but he's less of a storytelling player, so that's the slight difference between that. So we don't play it a huge amount, but so far it's been a huge success with our guests. So well, let me stop yabbering about it. I'm gonna edit the other video in, and then you can watch the run through for yourself. Okay guys, I have set up the sort of initial game. I'm not going to show you all these cards, even though they're really amazing. As I said, I'm doing a Fairytale Gloom. The reason why I'm doing this one rather than normal Gloom is because I love fairy tales, but I like both games equally. The difference between Fairytale Gloom and normal Gloom is that in normal Gloom you can choose one of the 5 families. In Fairytale Gloom you have to set up your own family. Is it 5 families or 4? Anyway, with a normal Gloom you get 5 cards, and with this one you choose 4. So let me just show you the cards. I'm gonna just randomly choose a few. See, if this would be me, I'd probably go for the Prince. Remarkably charming. His likes are sleeping beauties and long hair. Dislikes witches, thorns, no frogs please. So of course if I'm going to use him, I'm going to put the witch in his family as well, just because he specifically said he didn't want it. The witch, often wicked, she's got kids eating her cottage and farmers stealing her greens. It's enough to make anyone cast a curse. I agree. And normally, if I would be playing this with Dan, we'd take a card one by one, but I'm just going to set up 2 little families. Let's see, let's get the princess. I'm going to go for Snow White. She's one of my favorites. And excuse the paint on my fingers. I've been working on making some stuff today. Snow White, the fairest of them all, and she has an unfortunate appetite for apples. That always cracks me up somehow. Let's see, I think they need a child. Who are we going to put as a child? Is it going to be Little Red? Or now, let's do Goldilocks, because she's a little delinquent. Goldilocks, the furniture critic. She's going to break in your beds and chairs. Or just break them. Oh, she's a horrible little girl, isn't she? Okay, so that would be my family. And for Dan, I would definitely go with everyone needs a bit of evil in their family, with the stepmother who is frequently evil. It's not her fault. She was misled by the mirror. I think I should like use that excuse whenever I do something wrong. It wasn't me, it was the mirror. Let's see who is going to be her husband. Oh, let's go with the woodsman. He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He's a helpful huntsman. I mean, these two clearly belong together. And they're a nice little problem with my family. Now, let's see. For their child, we'll do Little Red Riding Hood, who is Granny's girl, and she knows all about life in the hood. And let's give them a cat, shall we? Oh, these are difficult to pick up. Puss in Boots, clever cat. He's making his mark with a made-up marquee. The Marquis de Carabas, which, you know, is interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly clear these up so I have a bit more space. I already sorted out 5 cards. I'm not gonna do a full run through because that would take forever. And I don't want to bore you guys. I just want to, you know, give you an idea. Okay, the first thing we would do, I'm not going to do that for both families, I'm just going to do it for mine, is introduce our families. So we would make up a little story. And I always start with the sort of most famous of the lot, which in my case would be Snow White. Snow White, who is a little bit of a ditzy girl and who is kind and sweet natured, but not the cleverest of them all, has a bit of an obsession with apples, and she keeps like collecting them and eating them, even though, you know, it's not always the best thing to do. She married her prince who saved her life, but he is a bit of a cad. And he tends to, you know, be gallivanting around the forest looking for, like, sleeping princesses who he can kiss, or women whose long hair he can climb on. So there's a little bit of friction in this marriage, let alone that their mother-in-law is a rather nasty old woman who does like to fight with her son-in-law, and she keeps trying to put spells on him. And they have a child who has gone off the wrong path, or whatever you call that, who is always breaking into people's houses. And you know, poor Snow has had to go to the police quite often and explain why her child has been, you know, breaking bare furniture. Okay, so that would be, and then Dan would do his story and we would start. Okay. Now, the point is, I want to give my family as many negative points as possible. I want to make them super miserable, and then I want to kill them off. That's how it goes. Okay, let me start. These are the cards in my hand. I mean, look how awesome the whole see-through thing is. You'll see why, because it actually has a function why they're see-through. It isn't always handy because sometimes, you know, you can see what the other person has in their hands. But at the same time, they actually did that a little bit better in Fairytale Gloom because the events look like death cards as well. Well, I have the perfect card in my hand for the prince. See, the prince and his mother-in-law were fighting quite a bit. And the prince, being quite a heavy wine drinker, insulted the old woman and didn't realize he should have really not just drank wine without having it tested first. So the old witch slipped something in his drink, which turned him into a frog, which he hates more than anything. Now, look at the bottom. It says your draw limit is decreased by 1 card. So that means I now have 5 cards in my hands. When I draw back up, I'm only allowed to have 4 in my hand. So you have to really look
what this says as well, and this stays until I put a card on top that makes this go away. Now, let's see if we have something that I can show you. Okay. Right. He tried to get his spell dispelled by going to the Fairy Queen, but the fairies, who he dated one of them during his last curse when he was still a little guy, decided that he should stay a frog as punishment for a bit longer, and he was foiled by fairies. Now, as you can see, these new points, they all stack up, and the top ones are the ones that count. So that's basically how it plays. And it says discard one card from your hand for each little wand icon in play. Well, I only have one, so that would mean discard one card and skip your draw phase during this turn. So that would mean I would only have one card left in my hand, because I played two. I have 2 cards left in my hand. I played 2, I have to discard 1, and I'm not allowed to draw more. But I'm not gonna do all that. I just want to show you the different moves. Okay, well, if we would go for Dance Family, I want to show you some other moves. Maybe I should have shown you this, by the way. This is the turn order. I should have shown this in the beginning, but I'm chaotic, so I'm sorry. What you do, you get 2 actions from these options. You can play an event. Let's see, I think this might be an event card. See, he became a beast. Or you can play a modifier card, which are these cards. And they have either negative modifiers like this one, or they have, oh, these are so hard to get from the thing, or they have positive modifiers. I'll show you those in a second. You usually don't play the positive ones on yourselves. You can play an unhappy ending card, which is this, and that means your character is dead. But you can only play that as your first action, and only if it has a negative self-worth. So I might play a death card on another one just to show you. You can claim a story. This is only for the Fairytale Gloom one. I haven't actually set that up. I'm just playing normal Gloom rules, but there's a whole thing. We usually don't do that. You can discard your entire hand if you have really crappy cards and just get rid of them. And you can pass an action by doing nothing, which you know you don't want to do. Then you draw your back up to your limit at the end of your round, which is 5 unless you have cards that say otherwise, like my prince who oh wait, no, it's not anymore actually, because I topped this card. I only discard 1 card, so I don't have to have 4 in my hand. Next round I can just take 5 again. Okay, so that's it. I'm just going to show you how you would use a positive modifier. So, for example, you can say, well, Snow White, being a big lover of apples, decided that she was going to make lovely apple salad, and she had so much apples left over. She did apple pie and lots of apple things, and she prepared a picnic, so she was all happy. So see, she has a plus modifier. That means that A, she can't die, which is bad because any character that isn't dead at the end won't score you points. And B, well, you don't want them to be happy, you want them to be miserable. Okay, now normally you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't play this card on somebody else's negative things unless they have very little negative worth and you want to play it tactically and make sure that they only score like 5 points for it. But you can play this on other people. Usually you play this on yourself. So, for example, the prince who was still a frog and hopping around fairyland ended up tripping over the nest of the swamp hag, who was you know, basking in the swampy sun, and she got so angry she cast the same spell on him as she did on the Little Mermaid, and he dissolved into foam. And in the bottom it says, it happens to mermaids who don't find true love seriously. Well, it happens to frogs as well. So as you can see, it's the end for the prince, the poor froggy prince. And it says it's worth an additional -10 with the wand icon or the heart icon. Now I don't have a heart icon, but I do have a wand icon, so that means I get -10 extra. So that would mean this character would be worth 40, 50, 60 points. So that's how you count it. Okay, I'm not going to show you all the other actions because, like I said, I'm already at 12 minutes and that would be too much. But basically what you would do is you bring all your characters down and you try to foil the other people's characters by playing positive modifiers. There are actually cards that can bring people back to life. I mean, it is a fairy tale after all. There's things like True Love's Kiss cards and things like that. But what you want to do, you want to have as many negative modifiers, and you want to be the first to kill all your characters. It doesn't actually give you any benefits to kill all your characters first, so it's better to focus heavy on the negative modifiers and have not everyone be dead than have everyone be dead, because people have played it that way and they actually ended up losing the game. Now, I don't play this to lose, I play this to like make up the best stories. I mean, these weren't my most epic stories that I ever came up with, but it helps if you play with more people and you each tell your story and you really bounce off each other and you really have to listen to what the other person says, because if you foil their plans, you want to, you know, go along with their story as something is happening, because the flow needs to keep happening. Okay, well, that was my run through for Fairytale Gloom, and I hope that you get a better picture of what this game is all about.
So the weather's gone a bit dark because there's lots of rain clouds heading our way. It's cold and rainy today. Summer's been weird in Holland this year, or in the Netherlands. I actually live in the Holland part of the Netherlands, so I can say Holland. It's either been really, really hot or just dreary and raining and terrible and cold, so I can't make sense of it anymore. I did a run through for Fairytale Gloom. Because I did the run through, I actually got the boxes up, because this is the normal Gloom one, which it does feel a little bit darker than the Fairytale one. The Fairytale one is more quirky, different kind of funny, because they're both quite funny. I like playing both. It sort of depends on my mood. This one, I like the slightly gothy element of it. And then this is the box for the Fairytale Gloom one. The box apparently was designed by Satan himself. I can never close this one. It just keeps opening and spilling cards everywhere. It's just, I need to find a better box. Captain, we need a better box. Anyway, sorry. But it's good. You can play this with kids. You can play the other one with kids too, although I recommend this one if you're going to play with children. It doesn't have to be really, really scary or horrible. Although when you play with adults, it is actually quite funny if you do make it quite scary and horrible and, you know, get quite detailed. But maybe that's just a horror writer in me. That's that could get quite bad. I didn't do anything horrible with my little fairy tale characters, and it's more difficult, you know, if you're talking about Snow White, to do terrible things to them than it is if you're talking about any of the other characters, but or the other normal Gloom characters. They seem to like provoke more morbidity, because I don't know, they just look less fluffy. They're good games. They are, if you're going to try them out, make sure that you have played card games before and that you're comfortable with them. Because if you have to figure out the rules and you have to figure out how to play, I mean, it's not a very difficult game, but for new gamers, it can be a bit overwhelming to play cards and come up with a story. It really puts you on the spot, and you have to think quick on your feet because you don't want people to sit around and wait for you for forever. So try out a few other games first if you haven't played anything yet, and make sure that you play with people that enjoy the storytelling and that are willing to sit and listen to yours, because it's the most fun when you have that kind of interaction and everyone, you know, enjoys listening to each other and gives each other the space to tell their stories. Otherwise, you're going to feel very stressed doing this, so you really have to play this with a specific crowd. Um, of course, I am hoping that there have been people watching this that are like, oh, I really want to pick up Gloom now, or any of the other games that I've mentioned. It's fun to learn about new games, and it's fun to get inspired to try something new. So, I'm gonna sign out because this video's been long enough already. I hope it's slightly shorter than the last one. Thanks for sticking with me, and keep gaming. I shall see you next time.